It's on and popping. That's your head. It's the podcast. Damien, describe this podcast in a sentence.
Death. Well, that's not a sentence, that's a word. See, I've already fucked up.
Comma, death.
Slowly dying.
You're close. Give them to me.
Sans Hosen 12.
I knew you'd start with her. I thought I was going to just cut the intro in right there, but you did it better. Death. Death. So, hello everybody. This week we're not talking about a Cronenberg romance, which I came up with because Damien was talking about an ex-girlfriend who would say to him things like, "Would you still love me if my legs were made out of sausages?" Which there's a lot to consider just there. So, would you still love her if her legs were made out of sausages? I mean, not that you.
Well, not now, no.
I guess, but...
because her legs were made out of sausages.
Yeah, that's why. I'm sorry, this can't work.
No, I had no favourable response to those questions because it would invariably be at like 3 in the morning, you know.
Wake up!
Wake up! She'd like climb on my chest and be like, "I want to ask you something." It's like, what's happened? What? It's like,
when you say climb on your chest, was she like Thumbelina, like 8 inches tall?
She was pretty short, yeah, but she would like perch on my chest like a monkey, you know.
Jesus. Right, like a monkey, right?
Absolutely, you know.
But so you mean like arse, like arsehole to chest skin?
Not quite
that's how monkeys
like that.
sit. I mean, really get their arse in there.
Really grind, yes, yeah. No, I'd have to wash it off. Yeah, but would invariably ask me these asinine questions as a test of my boyfriendly worth, and that was the one that I would invariably remember, followed up by, "Would you still love me if I was a carrot?"
A carrot?
Would you still love me if I was a stapler?
Do you hear some grating, by the way? Are you like playing with some coins or something, or is it just the connection we've got here?
Oh, it might be the chair. The chair's rumbling a little bit. What can you... I'm not... Yeah.
I can hear it like a...
Yeah, that might be the chair. Hang on.
Look at Mr. La-di-da here with his fucking chair.
Of course, yes. Sitting is a luxury pastime for you.
Sitting is what I do, so I know all about it.
Right,
and
okay.
You're not doing it right.
Apparently not, no. Not if things are creaking. Turns out it's not the chair, it's just my shattered pelvis. I'm just grinding it right now.
From your monkey girlfriend sitting on you. I mean, when you say monkey, you're actually talking like a silverback
sorry, not
gorilla.
monkey, orangutan. Yeah. Crushed me.
Orangutans don't look that heavy.
Well, you say that until they're sat on your chest.
Yeah. I mean, when you say, you're talking like King Orangutan. Because that's how it works.
Emperor Orangutan.
Emperor Orangutan.
Like 10 foot, you know?
Yeah, I remember...
better part of a ton.
Seeing somewhere, probably a David Attenborough thing, or whatever, someone, doing a wildlife documentary and saying, yeah, these are emperor penguins and they can grow up to be 3 feet tall. And I was like, 3 feet tall? No. Because I thought that penguins were 6 feet. When I first went to a zoo and I saw all these tiny little penguins, it was like, what the fuck is that?
Well, they don't grow very large in captivity, you see, but in the wild. Oh, man alive.
There's nothing stopping them. The sky's the limit.
They're like goldfish, you know. They grow as large as the tank can kind of accommodate, really.
So you've got David Attenborough there looking at all these penguins and like, these penguins are huge. And like someone comes along like, no, these are the babies. We've got to go. Just over the horizon, this enormous Cthulhu penguin comes.
Of course, if they're reared in open air, then they'll grow to reach the sky, you know.
Yeah, to reach the top of the studio, the Truman-esque studio where they hit their head on some clouds. Would you still love her if she was a penguin? Probably love her more.
Maybe. I think no, not a penguin. I mean, they're cute and all, but no, it can't be done.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like entirely like it was a talking penguin. Like it was your girlfriend, but entirely in a penguin's body. That's
I mean,
Yeah,
it would have to be.
It would be a
to
turn off.
Yeah, it'd have to be a different kind of relationship. I mean, if there was still those romantic feelings there, I might feel the need to kind of look after and nurture it. But any kind of carnal
Definitely
entanglement.
Start calling her it. Yeah.
Well, she's not a person anymore at that point. She's a penguin.
What are you doing this weekend, Damien? I'm giving it a bath.
Oh, no.
Oh, good. That'll be nice and romantic.
I'll put on a spread. Yeah, candles and everything. I don't know. The fucking idea of like legs or I don't know where she got it from. It's like, well, why? Why were your legs sausages? Why would they be sausages? I don't know. They just would be sausages. Has someone done something to you? And the best thing they could do in a pinch after like running your legs off, like say a car accident or something like that, was to apply some kind of prosthetic in lieu of that. And the only thing at hand, only thing available, there was a butcher across the road. What is going on here?
It happened at the Melton Mowbray Meat Fest. They had to just quickly, like, luckily we do have these leg-sized sausages at hand.
Oh yes, if they had enough time, they would have applied short crust. They would have, half jobbed this one. But alas, time was running out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I imagine when you told me that, I imagine them to be frankfurters more than sausages.
Right. Okay.
Right, like chubby, the end of frankfurters, like basically like the width of her thigh.
Right.
And then a big make or break thing for me would be if it's just sausages and they just end. That's okay, but if they've got like toes and feet made out of sausages,
Oh right, okay, yeah. Now I can see that. That's quite disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question I didn't get an answer to is like, well, are they like proportionately, like leg sized, or are they just, where the stumps of your thighs once were? They suddenly,
What? And they're just like normal sausages.
normal sausages. Are you suddenly like 2 feet shorter?
Right. Yeah, just like a sausage growing out of your stump. I'd have that off.
I mean, it's a traumatic accident, They do all this emergency surgery and they heal the wounds and what have you. And she's been living out of a wheelchair for the last few months, and you've seen great progress in the flesh healing at the site of the trauma. But a few weeks after that, they started seeing these nubs growing out the centre of them. Flash forward to 6 months later, there's like 8 inches of Cumberland at the centre of these wounds.
They just never stop growing.
After
I mean,
a while,
I
they
guess
have to start coiling them,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Do they have the? Can she walk on them?
If they grew indefinitely, would you let me sever parts of them off and then either 1, taste them, or 2, sell them? Maybe turn this into a bit of a cottage industry.
I mean, you're going to end up tasting them.
I mean, if it's a no to all these answers, then I guess I can't love you if your legs are fucking sausages. What's in it for me?
Like, there's definitely a horror movie there where someone wakes up and their legs from like the thigh down are sausages, but it's still real world physics. Like, they start rotting immediately. Dogs are very interested. They can't really go outside.
Okay, so then there's going to be an element of maintenance where I will have to shear like the old sausage and just leave the fresh stuff while it can still keep, and give it.
Is that how it works, Mr. Chef? Like, this sausage is rotten only on the outside.
Well, I'm going to have to, grade it. So, if I let it grow long enough so she's got like regular length legs at least, the feet are going to be kind of rotten at that point. But I'm gonna have to decide at what point do I, say goodbye. How tall do I want her to get? Her thighs are always going to be like healthy sausage material, but anything but shin area, it's a bit gamey. Feet, no, you can't sell that. I mean, I know people that would sell meat in that condition, but I'd like to think that I'm above that, and I have never done that.
Well, yeah, or it could just be like my legs are one sausage, and then you'd have to like
right. So
plant
after a
her.
while.
So she doesn't fall over.
grows as a mighty oak, but when it comes to springtime, sausages start fucking appearing, flowering from the leaves.
The mighty sausage tree. Yeah, I mean, what else would you say? You said that this was a regular occurrence where she would scoot her enormous red arse up onto your
Now she's a baboon.
yeah, your fragile naked body and demand answers to these questions. Any other?
Oh, well, another question was, what if you had severed arms? It was like, well, what kind of like facial deformity?
Severed?
Yeah, what if I had no arms? Okay. And I just keep saying yes because I want to go to sleep. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
fine.
what she wants to hear,
It's
surely.
like, yeah. What if I had like a really large hairy cock and balls? I thought, well, I'd love you even more then. Like, can I go to sleep?
Like when she says she has them, you mean like she
Like in
doesn't
a
have
jar.
vagina, or she has like a really hairy cock and balls like, on the back of her leg, or something.
No, that's a nightmare. I can't.
So that's better. That's worse than if she was a man. Then
I don't know. I mean, I'd understand
Why
what
does
a
it have to
man
be
is.
hairy?
All right. Her words, not mine.
yeah, but like hair, you could do something about it being hairy. Like that's irrelevant, isn't it? I mean,
I guess what she's saying, there's going to be an insistence on not like a no grooming policy. She's obviously
Yeah.
trying to see how far she can go before I say no. That's it. You're fucking done. It's like,
what
so
about
not only
if I was just a head in a jar? Yes. Okay, then. What about if I was just an enormous hairy cock and balls in a jar?
What if my head was on the end of a giant penis shaft? Just that. No arms, right?
Like
No
the balls
sausage
are like
legs. You don't have to
feet.
deal with those anymore. That's fine. I'm not attached to anyone's body, so it's not going to be hairy. It's just I kind of undulate like a caterpillar. Would that be enough for you?
Oh, so she has to like crawl. She can't just. She can't move around like the balls are sort of like
No, just the shaft.
Popeye
That's
feet.
it.
just the shape. There's no balls involved. Right. So what's at the end then?
I don't know. Perhaps just I had no answers. I'd like to imagine it's just flush. Just like a tabletop.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. So you could use her as a draft excluder.
And that's when I came round. It's like, yeah, sign me up. All right, where's the doctor?
Big cloud.
Oh, this is a back alley affair. You don't say. I'm glad you've already made the inquiries. It seems you knew the answer. Why are you asking these questions anyway?
Yeah, I was a bit worried about it, but then when I heard the doctor talking to himself in his van about how people thought he was mad, but he'll prove them wrong, that comforted me a lot.
Now, you see, if either one of us was Kevin Smith, we'd have a fucking new hit film on our hands.
Or
That'd have to be called Draft
Well,
Excluder.
your dad in it as well, for a bit, for no reason.
Just to, like, sling shit out of a window with a bucket. Be like, get off my land!
And he says in that accent. Yeah. I mean, what if her legs were just cock and balls? Two cocks.
Now, you're starting to sound like her. I mean, at this point, my cards are on the table. It's done, all right?
Like, would you still love me if my skin was made out of carpet?
Like, all of it?
Or all of the carpet in the world?
No, all of the skin, or just patches. Would it be all one
It'd be
type of
worse if it was
carpet?
patches, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
All of one type of... Okay, so you could have, like a normal sort of Berber for the chest, and then as you sort of go past the navel, it starts to get
Becomes
into
shag.
this, like, 70s shag. like lime green shag.
I mean, it wouldn't be pleasant to the touch, but it could be aesthetically pleasing.
Perfect for storing crumbs.
Amongst other things.
You end up with like George Stobart pockets where you're just like pulling out like theodolites and things. from there. And do a whole magic trick.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good. Good. Cock and balls. I'm glad we... Is that what she says? If I was just a shaft. And so there's no head then. It's...
Oh no, her actual head would be the head.
So then...
So,
is there a,
when I get bored of hearing her talk, I can just roll up the skin. Oh, I made myself so sad.
I mean, okay, so I guess there's like some sort of, what would the word be, like a suction cup at the base, so she doesn't fall over all the time.
So I can like lift her up and then like put her on a window or something like that.
Yeah, and then sit on her. Or hang some clothes off her or something. I don't know.
I suppose. Well, no, I would imagine I would just fall off unless she was happy.
Right. I guess that's where we were going. Like, I guess it is like an erect cock. Otherwise,
again, depends on the mood, surely.
I guess if it's not erect, you're just gonna have like this like chrysalis thing, right? Like it's gonna look like someone left the slugs out.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I thought so too.
And there's no neck. I mean, because that would be worse if there was this penis shaft that suddenly tapers in, and then it's her head. Because when we're saying enormous, we don't mean like it's enormous like the cock is as wide as her body. It's like 3 feet wide.
Oh my god. Okay, fine.
And then just a normal size head on top of that.
Well, No, I don't think I could do that. I think that might be the limit. I mean, she's probably not going to be too chuffed to hear from me right now, but I think I can give an answer to a question finally. I've explored the concept.
Right now, what sort of cock? I guess if the enormous penis shaft that makes up her body isn't circumcised, she has a nice hood for the rain.
All right, so if she's 3 feet wide, how tall is she now? Because I mean,
still only 5 feet.
Right. Okay. Because
it's a chode.
Oh God. Yeah, when I originally envisioned this, I thought it'd be kind of like pet-sized or something. Like a medium-sized dog.
You're talking like an 18-inch cock.
Yeah, something like that. So I could definitely hold it in my arms. I'd probably have to do the duty of like transporting her to, various engagements and what have you. I'd obviously wrap her up in many shawls and what have you, and try to explain it's a genetic condition or something like that. Try and disguise it as best I could. I'm sure she'd understand that. I hope she would be too embarrassed that I couldn't be honest about her situation. But at the same time,
you could probably save yourself some money by getting, one adult, one child to the cinema and things like that. Even, depending on her size, like even just wearing a large coat and sneaking her in.
That's a very good point. Yeah. There are actually quite a few pros to this.
You wouldn't have to get her any plane ticket. Just put her in your bag. Store her in overhead luggage.
Yeah, I think I might have ended this relationship prematurely because this is starting to sound attractive.
Yeah. What about if she was an enormous...
Sorry.
What about if she was an enormous vagina? That doesn't make any sense, does it? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that does make no sense. Everything else fine.
Yeah. Like, what if my body was an enormous arsehole?
Some would argue that I am already that.
So then it would just be like a massive hairy hula hoop with a head on top of it. There's no rectum or anything.
Or, more frighteningly, when the sphincter contracts, it reveals the face, no?
Oh, I see, yes. I see, so you've got a bit of Beeblebrox going on. And then whenever she does that, you're just like, not now, honey, go to sleep.
I have to leave the country right now after seeing that. That's fucking revolting. I told you not to do that. But I need to breathe. Tough shit. No. we came up with a code of conduct, rules of decency here when we agreed to undergo this. You talked me into this.
Surgery.
And what do you get out of it? That's the one thing you never answered me. Why? Why this giant asshole?
Instead of your arms and legs. You know, I happened to come across a story the other day. Have you seen the conjoined twins? Who are two, I guess they're in their 30s now, but they were pretty well documented when they were younger in their teens. It's essentially two girls who are, who more or less are two heads on one body. Have you seen them?
I've heard of them.
Pretty.
So what's this? What is the story now?
Pretty famous. I came across the other day, just, you know, what they were up to, and one is a teacher.
Okay.
And they I can't remember their name. Sorry, let's just call them Mary Kate and Ashley. They only get one salary for that.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, what are the ethics behind that? Because they're two people who are conjoined.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I understand that.
Yeah.
But there's only one
So-
teaching, right? That's what I
There's
heard.
only
One of them
one.
is a teacher.
There's only one. I mean, there's only one teaching. Yeah. I mean, even if there were two teaching, like, how's that going to work? Like, you don't. You know, I've never been in a classroom where two teachers are like finishing each other's sentences or anything. That doesn't seem beneficial. But they are two people. I mean, like the teacher does she teach and the other one is like just checking her phone or what?
Yeah, just kind of hanging out. I don't know. I mean, so it's just this job is definitely prescribed to just one person. One person seems to be passionate about the cause and has the skills and what have you, and does the work. Or does the other twin chip in?
No, it's just one of them is a teacher. That's it, and they get, you know, and she gets paid her salary, and the other one gets nothing.
Right.
But the other one obviously has to be there
Yeah.
and you know, do all that.
Does the other twin have any kind of any other job? Try that again. Does the other twin have a job? Do they take it in turns to work?
I don't
Or
think it would be possible for her to have a job because they like literally share the same body, just two different heads. So it's not like she can like be like, right, well, now you've done your teaching, I'm off to my night job.
Right,
Like the
of course,
body,
yeah.
the body is going to be tired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how it works. If it surely can't be like a full-time thing. Perhaps maybe one week does teaching, and then next week the other one stacks shelves. I don't know. Or is it just one is essentially the full, you know, the breadwinner and what have you? And they have very uncomfortable talks at the end of the day about how the other one's a fucking wastrel and she does all the work. Sponging off my hard-earned money.
I mean, what if the one who isn't a teacher? What if she's like, before we go in, I'm just going to smoke some crack.
No, you can't
Don't
do
worry,
that.
Nothing to do with you. I don't. It just seemed like a bit unfair. I
would
guess.
say so, yeah. But
then I don't know. Is it fair to pay her twice as much when she is only doing the job of one person? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
well, if there were two people doing the job, achieving two workloads, I would say, yeah, two salaries. But I'm fucked if I know. There won't be much in terms of legal precedence for something like this.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure that what I read said that she was an elementary school teacher. So I guess the school would have to like let people.
Yeah.
Like, listen, there's something you should know about.
She's got two heads.
No, she only has one head, but she's very close to her sister.
God. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure, if it's I figured it would at least be like high school or something like that.
Because that'd be better.
Well, because at least you'd have more developed minds that could kind of cope with that a little bit. I mean, granted, teenagers, are fucking immature, right? They would relentlessly take the piss, but I'm sure the young children, would there be anything taught in those lessons? Would not every question be like, why do you have two heads?
We've been through this, Reginald.
I don't have two heads, all right? We share a body.
Yeah. I don't know, though. Maybe in high school, though, I know, yeah, I mean, I know what you mean about, people taking the piss, because they haven't developed
Or,
the
college and
morality
upwards.
that
I
adults
mean,
live under. But surely, like if you, I don't know, like if you... We went to high school with someone like a teacher in a wheelchair. You couldn't have taken the piss out of him and people be on board with that.
behind closed doors was a very different
Behind
lesson.
closed doors is a different thing, obviously. I mean, when we took the piss out of him, it wasn't because of his fucking wheelchair.
No. It was because of his... It was because a failed attempt at being a filmmaker. Was it not?
Well, he just thought he was. I know he
was not
just new teacher syndrome, wasn't it? Like I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna be the dad these kids always needed, and like a California teacher, like yeah.
Yes, and it's a good time to mention that he was in a wheelchair because he lost his leg in a motorbike accident. This wasn't some like genetic thing he was born with. He at one point in his life he fancied himself quite flash, and it unfortunately for him blew up in his face in a horrible accident.
Well, I didn't know about him fancying himself as being Flash.
Oh no, this is all my assumption.
Conjecture.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But considering his
probably selling drugs from that motorbike. Is what was happening. And when we say, I mean, it wasn't his motorbike, probably.
Of course, it was stolen because he was stealing it was heroin. I mean,
it was heroin.
Yeah, the
Two
reason
kids
he had that
as well
accident,
because they're easier to get hooked on it.
Yeah, and the reason he had that accident is because one disgruntled father who lost his daughter to heroin addiction took it upon himself to kind of seek vengeance.
That's right, and he wasn't even like saying to these kids like, "Hey, try this heroin; it's free, it's great." He was saying like, "Oi, you need some vitamins. Let me inject some vitamins into you." And then as he injects them, he was going, "Gotcha! I'm going to make all sorts of nasty films with you in order to pay for these vitamins." Like that. He got what was coming to him. No, we would take the piss out of him because it was the new teacher syndrome of, I'm going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and make a difference. And he was actually quite, not wrongly, not unreasonably, quite bitter.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, and that would come out a lot. Is that right?
Yeah. You're quite right. I haven't thought about this dude in a lot. I can't even remember his fucking name actually. I'm just trying to. I'm scrambling to.
Do you remember when we were talking about if he goes to Ascot? And it's Mr. Bancroft in the lead.
Bancroft. There we go. Thank you.
And global warming has set in. He's now got 2 feet of water to contend with, but he's still going. The battery on that wheelchair is like no other.
Like 200 cc's of horsepower.
200 cc's. That's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, he's going at 80 miles an hour. That was the joke, was it not? Because he'd engineered.
No, the joke was that he was competing against like full-sized horses, and
he was basically going as fast as a hairdryer.
Yeah,
but he was still there, with his like flight goggles and a massive woolly scarf that was nevertheless blowing in the wind, looking like it was a hurricane, but still,
yeah. The joke
2 miles
was
an hour.
This took so long that, like, by the time he finished, it was like it was post-apocalyptic. Like society had crumbled like 15 years earlier. It's not very nice, is it? Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying about him?
I don't know how we brought it up, but we were talking about conjoined twins, so naturally we talked about someone. The closest thing we've encountered in our time at school, someone who lost their leg in an accident.
It's the same thing.
Very sheltered lives.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I was just really sort of asking you what you think. Like, should the other twin who has to be there? I mean, you can't really say like we should pay them double because then you would get a teacher who doesn't have 2 heads.
Or how about like during recess? She goes out. They give her a mop bucket and what have you, and the others, the other sister like does the halls or something. So.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they put the mop bucket on the other one's head.
No. That would be insensitive. I'm talking about progressing here. All right. Offer as much opportunity as possible.
So they don't scare the little kiddies. They have like a series of mirrors, smoke and mirrors, and no one ever realizes.
Every time a child puts their hand out, they say, "It's a trick of the light. It's fine."
Well, maybe we should move on now, at the risk of saying something.
We've already alienated ourselves as much as we can do at this point, so I think it's fine. Let's double down. All right, one question then is that did it mention where the school was? Because for something like this, they have to be quite out there. I'm presuming like a Californian thing.
No, I don't know if it did. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, good on her for getting a job and everything. If I had a brother stood next to me, I know what we'd be doing. Look at me, I've got 2 heads. Free drinks, please.
Now you're wondering if I drink it down, can he throw it up? Well, for that, I'm gonna require.
I'm gonna need another fucking drink. Like he's dead. I mean, like he's just
his rotting head hanging from your neck,
Yes.
dangling now.
It's clearly like, yeah. Is this anything to do with that graveyard theft? You just dug up a head and sewn it to my own neck. Look, he looks like me.
No, that requires some commitment. Sewing it would be painful. I reckon it's a gaffer tape job. It'll be absolutely fine. No one will know.
Gaff tape job and a nice big turtleneck. No one will ever know.
One of those foreskin jumpers I've heard so much about. My ex makes them now, don't you know?
Some people get paid for donating their hair. She gets paid for donating her ample foreskin.
It's regenerative.
Why does a penis have a foreskin but doesn't have an afterskin?
I feel this is a setup of a joke, is it not? I don't know why.
No. It's a question.
Oh, was that the punchline?
Because your mom. Yeah, well, there you go. We haven't done one of these in a long time. There was some new toilet news, wasn't there?
We do toilet talk every week with Damien. I'm the hand that flushes the toilet.
Yes, but
I'm surprised it's not a jingle.
There was something new that you sent me, and it was a while ago because we were going to do this podcast like quite a while ago. I was going to ask you all sorts of things about the Winter Olympics, like why would anyone watch them, and did you know they were happening, and how is it fair that there's a Winter Olympics? There's no fucking Desert Olympics. I'd love to see some Bedouin fucking sandboard down a dune or something.
That does sound pretty tits, actually. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Honestly, it sounds just as boring as all the rest.
Yeah, but with the element of heat stroke.
Yes.
Which makes it exciting.
Frozen. I did hear that someone's penis froze out there.
There's more to that story, and I must know what.
I think it was like a Finnish cross-country skier or something.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been something like that.
Presumably clothed. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, sorry, buddy, but what did you expect?
The Olympic Committee are like, we told him it gets very cold.
We told him that we had a strict set of rules and regulations as well, but by participating in this manner, he's already disqualified himself from any potential awards. He's out of the ranking.
Our little list here, he was never actually invited. Who is this man?
I don't know. Some of us were involved over the barriers. He's wearing a flag on his chest, at least, so he must be a competitor.
So I was going to ask you all about that stuff, but obviously that's been and gone. But you did send me a video, and essentially it's a video, I guess, from where Damien works of the women's bathrooms, and they've put a toilet seat on the toilet, and it's backwards.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's not the
It
women's
by
bathroom. There's a
backwards, I
staff
mean-
room, so it's co-ed. But yeah, so we don't. Those toilets, I'm sure I mentioned, like have faulty hinges on them. So for a while they were just a facade. You know, if you went to go take a shit or something, you'd have to hold it in place either side of the toilet to sit down.
What was a facade?
Like the actual
The
toilet
toilet
seat,
seat.
because it wasn't attached. It was invariably like propped up against the wall, but you would either
Maybe
try.
that's the future. Everyone has their own toilet seat that they keep around their neck.
For a second, I was thinking that's actually quite hygienic. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, you run it under the tap after you're done.
There'd be like a special kind of sink for it, no? Or maybe it's like you have like a sort of
It's like a
hose.
cow dip. Like an antiseptic dip that you just dip the entire thing into, shake it off, and it goes back around your neck. You can have all sorts. You can have like LGBT colours. You know, do you like blue? You can get it in blue, get it in Barbie pink, whatever you want.
You can have with LEDs and stuff like that, or like those belt buckles, with the LEDs, so you could have like personalized messages and stuff like that. You can really like capture the essence of your identity, really make a personal statement.
Yeah. It's basically the modern version of the Elizabethan ruffle. Like, are you gonna have like a small toilet seat? Are you gonna have a big toilet seat? You could have like a kinky toilet seat with like metal spikes.
We say Elizabethan rough. Now the toilet seat is no longer hanging around the neck. I think it's like quite a toilet seat with a small aperture, so it fits snugly around the neck and acts as a collar. So I'm going to presume that at this point most of them are, have at least a degree of the rim is rubber, so to allow for dismantling
Like the
off
Elizabethan boot neck. So essentially, like you could have that there, and then you could hang off everything else, and then your own diving bell.
It's also a nifty tool for dining as well.
Diving, clamming.
I said dining actually. I mean, I
dining.
was thinking in terms of it would act in terms of like a bib, or a napkin, what have you. So you wouldn't have to worry about any unnecessary spillages and stuff like that.
I mean, maybe
because as you know, most toilet seats are designed with a material that allows for easy wiping, as it would naturally need
So
to
you're
be.
saying we can get rid of that? That's old-fashioned. I want my toilet seat made out of cheese.
Oh man.
What's the worst material for a toilet seat? Sawdust.
I was going to say sandpaper, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've already touched on it, but shag carpeting would be particularly disastrous. I mean, I suppose after a few uses, it's not going to be shag anymore. It's going to be wet dog.
Or like pumice stone or something. Like you're never going to get the piss out of that.
Yes, but the backs of your thighs, the upper, and the lower regions
Baby
of your ass
soft.
cheeks are always perfectly exfoliated.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that people should just carry their own toilet around.
Maybe people should hold it the fuck in.
Yeah, I had a friend who was like, I guess his hobby was basically sleeping, and he always said that if he had the money, he'd try and invent a Davros chair.
Okay.
Davros is the baddie.
Yeah, that's all I know. Doctor Who.
Yeah,
But
he's basically in a God, lots of wheelchair talk this time. He's in a sort of like electric wheelchair, and it also is his life support system and everything. Basically, this guy's idea for a Davros chair would just be a chair I never have to leave because I can shit into it. And it has wheels, and perhaps it makes electricity out of my shit.
because like biofuel, he's put some thought into it at least.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could sell that. People would buy that.
yeah. Well, what I mean, would the armrests have like coolers in them? For like a couple of beers or something like that.
The way he described it, I don't think there was an armrest. I think it was like all the way up to the neck. It was like you were just ahead on this chair, walking, going on.
Just with a very content look on his face as he's constantly shitting.
You've obviously given your arms up for the much superior pincer and plunger.
Well, I mean, you may as well double down at that point because you'd be living without shame at that point.
Yeah.
May as well be as weird as possible.
Canvas, that would be quite an interesting toilet seat cover. not cover, toilet seat, like pure canvas. Lead.
Lead, okay. If you're breathing with lead, I mean, presumably quite cold.
Oh, I guess like
Oh.
if you get hungry, you could have a nibble on it.
Chalk. Chalk would be delightful.
Yeah. Then, gets you ready to go climbing afterwards. Crayola.
But like a heated toilet seat as well. So it gets a bit
no,
runny.
You've got to get it heated a little bit so that it can, really form around your arse.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Toilet seat made out of chocolate.
I mean, not just
That
chocolate,
way-
you could like nougat chocolate. That way.
That way you don't have to disguise any any mistakes. Very discreet is the chocolate toilet seat. There you go.
Now from Toblerone. It's not just for Christmas.
It's for about 6 or 7 uses before you discard. So they have to be relatively cheap because we're talking about a disposable product here.
I suppose so. I suppose all toilet seats are ultimately disposable, aren't they?
Well, it seems to be the case at work.
Yeah. So I guess what prompted this is yes, they put the toilet seat on backwards, and by backwards I mean that when you close it, the lid goes down first,
and then the toilet
then
seat afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no way you can use it as a woman without either just hovering over the toilet or just touching porcelain like you're fucking Hannibal Lecter. And
Yeah, well-
as I was saying to you, they take like minutes to install. I mean, there would be nothing stopping the person who installed that, A, from seeing that they'd done that, and B, from correcting it in minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a very flawed pattern of thinking here. I mean, we were talking about it, and you speculated it's an act of utter contempt for their employers, because I can't see how any rational mind could look back at that and say, "Yep, that's good enough."
Yeah, I mean, it must. It's either it can't be incompetence, I guess is what I'm saying. It's either someone who was like fuck you, or someone who was on like serious drugs.
I mean, that is also a possibility, yeah. I mean, that video did the rounds with all the work groups pretty quickly, and everyone kind of saw the funny side of it. But the head of maintenance caught wind of it, and he desperately had to go around saying, "For fuck's sakes, this was not my work. Please do not attribute this to me. This is fucking embarrassing."
So who was it?
Apparently, for this little odd job, they just got somewhat. Not just an odd job, but a couple of little bits around the restaurant. They had someone else come in, a third-party contractor or something like that, who naturally they obviously are not going to be paying after that. But yeah, I don't know. I just took it at his word that he didn't do it, but I know he is also quite a disgruntled employee as well. So, but I don't see why he would particularly take a dig at the low level, the people on the ground floor. You know, that was the staff bathroom. It's co-ed. It wasn't the women's bathroom. I know the video I sent you could obviously hear it was my sous chef. She discovered it. You can hear her voice in it saying something's not quite right, Tia. But yeah, I mean,
just taking a shit on the inside of the lid.
I very nearly did. You know, various points during that day because I was there at the time. I don't know how I missed it because it happened while I was, in the back. It was only a few feet away, but it's only like an hour after the fact when I saw this video. I had to go and check. But throughout the day, I kept going for my necessaries. And there are two toilets in that staff room, and that one was my toilet of choice. And every time I go in there, I'm like,
Everyone's favourite, yeah.
But there were points where, it's a 15, 16-hour shift. So after a while, I mean, towards the end of it, I was fucking knackered. And despite the fact I've, been there a couple of times, habit should really reinforce that. But after a certain point, you're too kind of knackered to kind of know the difference. And the last time I had like my trousers, around my knees at one point, like turning around, was like, oh wait. I very nearly could have like fired before I sat down on it as well. But
Yeah.
disaster averted, everyone. So don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just fucking. I'm not surprised. That's the worst thing.
Well, I mean, everyone was like, once the kind of the chuckles had worn off, everyone were like legitimately kind of pissed off about it. I'm surprised someone
I
didn't,
would
like,
be.
Just like piss on it out of fucking spite. It's like, how have you not got this person back immediately to fix this fucking shit? Hell, just like give me a fucking wrench and I'll fucking do it.
Yeah, it doesn't even need a wrench usually. I mean, like half of them have it's like a winged nut, so you can do it with your hand.
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of what kept happening with the toilet seats in the first place. I think people would like sit down with such force that it would eventually just kind of loosen these fucking screws underneath.
Yeah, you just need to tighten them. That's it. I know all about the toilet seats.
Of course you do, connoisseur, a visionary, as we're discovering this evening.
Yes,
you're taking the toilet seat to brave new places.
McDonald's on my portable toilet chair. It's powered by my own urine.
And sense of self-accomplishment.
Well, where I live right now, which Damien has been to, it has my apartment. It's a one-bedroom apartment, overlooks an alley. Remember?
Yep.
Yep. So out there the other day, out there, I hear the window's open. My wife is having a cigar outside of the window, and from out there I hear like, "Oh God, there's a lady up there," and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I look outside. It's like midday, and there's a woman squat pissing in the alley, right? And I mean, it's an alley behind. What would you call it? Like a strip mall, essentially. Like there's a Chipotle, there's a barbecue place, there's a Domino's. There's places that have bathrooms. And she's there, and then I went to the window and looked, and immediately saw what was happening. Was like, oh fucking God! Looked away, and then all I could hear was this woman saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And that made it better because New Year's Day, I think it was. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, the same thing happened, exactly the same place. This like SUV pulled up, obviously people who don't live here, and this fucking fat woman got out and just started pissing. And me and Christina are just watching this, and then the dog starts barking, and this woman, looks up at the dog and just starts yelling to the dog, "Fuck you, fuck you!" Like, what? You're the one pissing there.
Is it the same woman as well?
No.
All right,
no,
okay.
Completely different people. And like I say, whilst the second one was in daytime, where you think just go to her bathroom.
Yeah.
Just the fact that she was saying "I'm sorry," it made it better. It didn't make it right, but it was like, okay, all right. That's that's way better than like "fuck you." Like, don't piss in my alley. You fucking piece of shit. Day before today, 3 days ago, I see this guy shuffling along. Again, I'm having my morning stogie, and this guy's shuffling along, and he's got he looks like a fucking heroin addict, and he's looking around, and he goes behind the dumpster, and he starts shooting up.
Right.
And I shout out to him, "What are you doing?" No reaction at all, and then shuffles off. Yesterday, he comes back at the same time and does the same thing. That's it. That's the end. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, I sympathise. I'm sorry that you're addicted to heroin, but don't fucking do it there.
Well, I mean, can't be many environments where it's going to be acceptable. I think. Yeah.
No, but
it's not acceptable.
I mean, don't do it near where people live. I mean, I agree. Like, where's he going to go? But fucking hell.
I don't want to see that shit.
I don't want to see that, I don't want to be around there. They leave needles around and stuff. And I mean, I'll talk to you about what I'm doing, Now, I don't usually talk about like where I live and stuff that much on this podcast, but I will right now. So I live in Indiana, as I said before. I think I said it on the podcast, and loads of people said, I went to Indianapolis once, never again. And things like that. But I don't know, what did you think of Indianapolis when you came here?
Well,
alright.
I saw it in a relatively good light. Granted,
Yeah.
the 2 weeks I spent out there were, it was just a good laugh, and also went during some pretty exceptional weather as well. So for me, it was
Yeah.
a blast. But
It was like August 2019.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we didn't really venture out aside from aside from working at that set and then going back to yours. There wasn't really much kind of branching out beyond that. I think we went maybe 1 or 2 bars like early on before we started shooting.
We walked
but
from the centre down the canal,
yeah.
didn't we? Which is, I guess one of the main attractions.
Yeah, but we were also, like pretty baked in the sun as well. So I have no idea of what my surroundings were really like, but I had a lot of fun.
I mean, it's definitely, like, I honestly think it's a nicer city than Sheffield, which is where I'm from. I think Indianapolis is like twice as big in terms of population, but they have a sort of similar history in that they were industrial towns.
Okay.
That sort of, they couldn't really keep up with their reason for existing in the 80s, and Indianapolis sort of revitalized itself. And I haven't been to Sheffield in years, but I don't think it has. But yeah, it's just gotten to this point now where, like I told you before, didn't I, that I heard a guy get shot down here.
Well, like actually heard the gun, you mean, or just heard?
Yeah, I
of the
thought I
story?
told you on the podcast. I heard like bang, 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 and like a death scream, like ah.
Jesus. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no reason to say you didn't, but I've already forgotten.
Yeah, well, fine. I heard that. I mean, one time this car drove up, and this guy was like beating this woman to death and stuff. And it's not like, oh, fucking Indianapolis so much as, this happens in all big cities. But I live downtown. The reason I live downtown is that my wife used to have she used to be a waitress in a certain revolving restaurant named after one of Hitler's retreats. She lived downtown because she could walk there, and she made pretty good money there, more than I've ever made. She made like 40 grand a year there. And in late 2020, they were not giving any sort of shit about COVID protocols or protecting people. There was one guy who lived with someone with COVID and thought he had COVID and said, I have a cough, I have a temperature. And they said, well, come in and we'll do some tests. They never had any tests. They said, okay, well, we don't have any tests. We'll just take your temperature with a thermometer. They don't have any thermometers. And they just said, oh, you'll be fine.
I'm just going to put the back of my hand against your head. That'll be a good gauge.
Yeah. I mean, I don't imagine they even did that. All of this stuff, and, Christina, my wife, is someone who speaks up, and they did not like that. Essentially, from what I can really gather, this restaurant, it's like 60 years old. It was quite prestigious at one time, probably 40, 30 years ago. And it's waned over time. What happened at some point was it was sold and sold and sold again. And the people who own it, well, I don't even know if they own it now, but the people who owned it back in 2020, they're a real estate company. And what they do is they buy like very large hotels and things like that, not to operate them, but their business is, we're going to buy it, and then in 5 years we're going to sell it for 50% more, which could be in the order of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't give a fuck about how things run at all. So during the early days of the pandemic, they took $50 million of PPP loans. Do you know what those are?
No, I don't.
they're essentially like forgivable loans for businesses to help them get through the pandemic and keep staff on. They took that. At the same time, they got rid of their entire house cleaning staff.
Right.
So you would go around this hotel and it would just be fucking filthy. They also completely slashed not housekeeping. What's it called? Room service wages. They said you live on tips now. Right.
Yeah,
so they started paying these people $2 like 50 an hour, and then just you live on tips. Anyone who's worked in room service can tell you you're gonna get fucked with that.
Mm-hmm.
People do not tip room service like they tip in restaurants in America.
Yeah, and it's
anyway,
a time where there wasn't surely not going to be a lot of people, staying in that hotel. So
well, you'd hope not, but it just went on and off where it was like, well, we're only going to have like 20% occupancy. Oh no, we're back to normal. Oh no, back to 20%. Oh well, we're going to have 20% occupancy, but we are going to host, the girls' basketball league for a week, and all this shit. And anyway, it just got like so much, and they clearly wanted my wife to leave because she was a troublemaker. And in November of 2020, I just basically said, just quit and come and help me with YouTube. And that's what she does now. And she does a lot of research for me. She'll edit this podcast because God fucking knows I can't.
Well, that's what she tells you, but just puts it up.
Yeah.
Some weeks it's just one track as well.
And all of that. But, so this happened and, we went from having like two incomes, and hers was, I don't make that much on YouTube. I mean, I'm not complaining. I don't do it for the money, but I don't like fucking make. I've seen comments where it's like, you're rich because you're on YouTube. Like, no. And like I say, that's fine, whatever. But it's just at the point now where it's like. So essentially what happened was I used to live in a small one-studio apartment in the same building. And then I moved to this apartment, which is a one-bedroom apartment. And there's always been mice. There was mice in the downstairs one. There was mice in the upstairs one, the one I'm in now. The only reason I got the upstairs one was because the woman who was here before saw a mouse and was like, I can't do this, I'm leaving. And, got out of it that way. There's always been mice. I've like constantly asked them, like, can you fill in the gaps underneath the heater and all this? And I've done all of it myself with, like foam and fucking put loads of fucking duct tape around the kitchen, around the cooker and shit like that. And about a month ago, I caught a couple of mice with a sticky trap. Basically, I'm pretty sure that, yeah. They weren't very big. The first one that we caught with a sticky trap, like 2 or 3 years ago, that was a juicy fucker. And
succulent.
It was not pleasant to watch it die.
No, it's not.
No. But the Orkin guy, because they have an Orkin guy who comes around here once a month, he gave us these sticky traps, these are better. Fucking hell. Horrible. But anyway, it was caught on one of those sticky traps and it didn't die straight away. The other ones that I've caught, the other two that I've caught, they died straight away on them. Mm-hmm. But this one was big, and it was almost big enough to like get up. It couldn't get unstuck, but it was almost big enough to start running around again. And its tail was going ba-doom, 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 like it was struggling.
Yeah.
And then eventually its tail got stuck.
Because those sticky traps, right? So they're glued, right? But there is a poison on them as well. So
yeah, it's meant to kill them. It's meant to kill them straight away, as far as I understand. But it was screaming.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, no. Whereas the other ones were like little dormice, field mice, and they did die straight away because basically it saw one or two. And was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Before they would come from under the oven, and years ago now, I filled under the oven with like wire mesh, and then stuck it. And these I saw in the bedroom. Like, there's no food in the bedroom. We don't eat in the bedroom. Like, oh, okay, so they must be coming in through here. I'm pretty sure they were coming in through under the heater in the bedroom. So, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed and then they'll go because they're nocturnal, and then tomorrow stick it up. But I'm pretty sure that I trapped them in here.
And they've been multiplying.
Unfortunately. So yeah, I remember chasing one around, and then, where is it? Look over to the trap. It's on the trap, dead already. So it died very quickly, as did the other one. But anyway, the night before last, which was the day after the second woman pissing, and the first day of the heroin guy behind the biffa bins, go to bed, put the lights on, walk in, and then, I think I saw a mouse. It could have been a shadow, but I'm like 80% sure I saw a mouse. And like, this all started with me, like, you know, hoisting up my petty tails. A mouse! Eek a penis! A mouse! Like, oh my god. And now I'm just over it and angry, and I'm looking for this mouse, and I'm like, looking under things and pulling like the black backdrop of the videos apart, looking for this thing. And it's, basically at this point, I'm gonna fucking pound it. I've had enough of this. I'm gonna pound it if I see it.
You got your brandishing your frying pan.
No, it's just just with my fist. Just fuck this. I'm just so annoyed. By this. And I never found it. And yeah, basically I just realised that, like, I don't want to live here anymore. And I don't know why I never thought of it, but like, now that Christina, doesn't have that job, there's no point of us being here. Since she left, she's obviously started helping me with YouTube videos. I do more YouTube videos, but I'm still like more or less living paycheck to paycheck. Like, why the fuck am I paying $850 for this to live with fucking mice? To live in a place where, like, people leave fucking heroin needles, and to live in a place where, like, every time I go outside, there's like more dog shit that someone has just left. Like, it's easy. There's a fucking dog shit bin there.
And I've seen them. They don't have dogs. They just come with a parcel in their hands, slightly steaming. It's relatively fresh. They've taken it straight from the park. These aren't the owners. There's just some really vindictive motherfucker that doesn't like someone in my building.
So yeah, basically, I just got to this point where it's like, I said to Christina, "Can we live with your grandparents?" And I was, naturally, I was drunk at the time, because I was searching for this mouse with my fucking, ready to pound. So
you needed a bit of Dutch courage.
You don't do that sober. It wasn't like it just happened to be. I mean, I wasn't really drunk. It was just, just beer. But yeah, I mean, normally I'd see it and be like, "Oh no!" But after like several beers, it's like, "I'm gonna fight this mouse." And yeah, I just at that point I was like, right, well, can we move in with your grandparents? And she said, I've been thinking about that too, and that was a complete shock to me. And that's what I'm going to do. My lease is up on the 30th of April. I'm going to go and live in Kentucky.
Oh, really? Wow, it's quite a shift.
Yeah.
Okay, nice one. I don't know anything about Kentucky, but
it's all right. I mean, it's south of Indiana. It's on the border with Indiana.
Right. Okay. Again, my geography, especially American geography, is for shit. So I assume it would be thousands of miles away on the other coast.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a 5-hour drive. So for us, it's across the country, right? But
that's less than the country here. Fucking hell. I'm sure I could run it in 5 hours.
Maybe east to west.
You dare mock me?
Yeah, I don't think you could run from like London to Edinburgh.
I don't think I could run for more than 20 seconds, to be honest. I don't think I've run anywhere since I was 14.
Yeah, I don't think I've run anywhere.
I've had no need to run. I'm a fucking adult.
It's boring.
I've never had to go anywhere in a hurry. I can organise myself, you see.
Even then, I'd rather just be late.
Yeah. We have this thing called public transport. And for those that were smart enough, vehicles of which you can pilot yourself.
Well, that's beyond me, unless we're talking about the Davros chair.
I mean, would your friend have settled for like one of those rolly office chairs, but with not ones with like the mesh seating,
With
but you
like
could
a
just
vacuum
take
cleaner
a
up his
Bowie
arse.
knife and just like cut out a hole that he could shit through? Would he be happy with that? Do you think?
I think that a large part of the appeal was that this would be self-propelled.
Oh right, okay.
Right, so
he's just this fucking lazy, is he?
Yeah, that's what it was about. Yeah, I mean, he was honest about it. He's the guy who had to ask to borrow like several £100s from me because he'd spent all of his student loan on wrestling cards.
Oh my God almighty!
He was
Did
a
you
lovely
loan him
man.
the money?
I mean, I had to because he lived with me and he needed to pay rent. And he paid me back. It's all okay.
Okay.
But then
He was
He
not
was
a
always
lovely bloke. He wanted to spend his life. He wanted to live his life fucking shitting into a chair that wasn't the toilet. Those are his aspirations. That does not a lovely person make.
for a good few months, all he could afford to eat was like heaping plates of steaming tatties, carrots, and mash. Tatties and mash are the same thing. Just potatoes and carrots. Ugh.
One of those like
Anyway.
boil in the bag affairs. Is it?
No, it wasn't. No. I mean, boiled in a massive saucepan.
Oh, actual produce. I was thinking like smash for a minute, and like powdered carrot that
Is that what
kind
you
of
said?
reconstitutes itself once you add water.
Is that what you serve? Because the revolving restaurant, they would get people say like your mashed potatoes are so good, and it was instant mashed potato.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I've never done that.
No.
I've toyed
Well-
with the idea, but
Well,
no.
the punters won't know the difference.
Of course not.
I'm
'cause
never going to
smash
go
is the
to a
fucking
restaurant
tits.
ever again.
I don't blame you. On the on the topic of restaurants and mouse talk.
Go for it.
No, it's nothing. Not much of a story, but
Your restaurant
do
has
have-
mice.
yeah. Well, I mean that's unsurprising. I haven't worked in a restaurant that hasn't had some kind of vermin problem. I mean, all of them do, but it's like keeping it within a safe level. Particularly in London, most of them, particularly central, are going to be in basements anyway, so they will literally like come out of the walls. It's just if you don't keep it clean, it will just attract vermin anyway. But we were comprised of a back prep kitchen and an open kitchen in the middle of the restaurant, and you would think that they would like keep on top of that, but we've had evidence for a while, and we see every morning, not every morning, but every now and again you come in the morning where they're obviously heading to bed. If you're the first one in the building, you might see one running across the dining hall to wherever it's
Right.
fucking going. So okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to catch that motherfucker, so we'll let it be. Now we're doing clearly an overdue deep clean in the open kitchen of a Sunday afternoon, which involves pulling out all the fridges and what have you, and then like getting in deep. But people have been noticing a kind of a funky smell for the last couple of days, and they couldn't quite place it. And lo and behold, we did find it. It was a dead mouse. But not only was it dead, it was
stiff.
it was mostly decomposed. So it's not just
Right.
like it's dead and we're finding it now. We're finding it because we smelled something and we had to dig fucking deep. But it's been there for a long
while.
fucking time. I mean,
Yeah.
judging by the state of it, a couple of fucking months. And this alleged deep clean, we do every week. So we clearly, people responsible for that sector of the kitchen had clearly been phoning it the fuck in. It's even better now because they've been. Sunday was always like the day that we'd have like 30 people all day, and that's why we would arrange to do the deep clean, this, that, and the other. But no, these motherfuckers have gotten greedy, and they've just block booked the fucking thing all day. Upwards of, I think they're capping it at 250 people at this point. So there's no time. The 7 hours that we run the service, it's just people are always in. We can't dismantle the kitchen, so any other like tasty little surprises like that will be coming because we're not getting this thing taken apart and giving it, a proper clean. No matter what we do with the, brushes and mops and what have you, food waste is just going to get knocked to the back of these fucking things, and they're going to gorge off of it. So they just kind of happily hang the fuck out there for a long fucking time. So it's bad enough finding that. Not that anyone has stood up to the owners. We don't care enough about the restaurant. We hate the situation that seems to put us in, where we're, constantly bent over a fucking barrel with their practices. Just
for the listener, I should say that David, your name is Damien, I seem to remember, has been tantalizing a massive walkout for quite a while.
Yes. Oh, I did the other week.
Teasing, I should say. I am tantalized.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all kind of fed up.
Tarantula and a mingo. Tarantula and a mingo. Remember that?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, fuck it. I lied.
It's drum and bass. What you gonna do?
Tarantula and a mingo. That's it. Go on then. You said that the owners are greedy. They don't give you enough time to clean. When's this walkout happening?
Well,
and can you TikTok it?
I mean, I'll make a video record of it. But they have a habit of not communicating anything with the kitchen team, particularly when it comes to the Sunday menu, because we've had so many complaints, because we're all so fucking tired that we just churn out food that we're not remotely proud of, and the recipes aren't up to snuff anyway. So naturally, the reviews have been dipping. People are noticing it because they've been getting more and more people in. They can't seem to cover up this problem. So they've had people trying to kind of workshop stuff, but because execs simply like to talk and what have you, and really fall in love with their own self-importance, they have all the ideas, but we're not worthy of them. So whenever they want to change something, I haven't encountered it in other places I work. If you want to change a menu, you workshop that stuff for a couple of months. You'll have tastings. You'll be given loads of paperwork on the matter, and you'll know in no uncertain
You'll know
terms.
what's in. You'll know the ingredients and.
Yeah. And when you're doing it as well. So these guys have been turning up, just fucking messing around with shit while we're trying to serve an amount of customers that we can't handle anyway. But we've just got these. Not only are they bigwigs, but they are also big people, and it's hard to physically navigate around these people that are just making shit up on the fly. There's been a degree of that that's been killing my spirit not my spirit, but everyone's spirit over the last couple of weeks.
You have spirit?
Yeah, no. But not last week, the week before, they decided that what they wanted to do was start putting promotional materials together, because they quite like the direction that this new Sunday menu was going, and if they were going to go live with it, they want to get the word out, because they've been capping things at 250, but since they gave us a nice little knockoff oven, we now have the capacity to do twice that, at least 400. It's like, oh, fucking great. Okay. You won't have any chefs to do that, but okay. But yeah, they needed promotional materials to get the word out. So we didn't know until we arrived at work that there was going to be a camera crew in all day recording us.
Well, I'd have done my makeup if I'd known.
Well, I mean, that was a degree of why a lot of people were kind of fucked off, because we'd all done 16 hours a day before.
Shagged, yeah, you look like you're working for a living.
Yeah, well, no break, no food, nothing. We're all fucking sick of this work. But because it was legit, they all handed out release forms and what have you. And I knew immediately, as soon as they gave me that paper, I was like, fine, I'm comfortable now, because I know I'm not going to appear in any of this fucking stuff. But I decided to make it my fucking mission. I spoke to one of my friends. He's like, they'd all been kind of umming and ahhing it. They kind of made it seem like you need to sign this thing. They were putting pressure on us. And I was like, no, not at all. Someone asked me, who was kind of on the fence.
So they gave you one expecting you
to sign it.
Say, yeah, I'd love to be in it, and you were like, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sign it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them explicitly, but what did you do? Well,
I
held it. I held on to it for the day, because I knew exactly what I was going to do.
Oh yes. Okay. So they didn't get you to sign it before doing it.
No.
Well, the Amateur Hour 101, you always get the talent to sign first, because you always get some knobhead who's like, I'd like to do that again. It's the end of the fucking day. We're not doing it again. Well, I'm not going to sign it then. Or some shit like that. You always get people to sign your release first before you fucking turn the camera on.
Yeah. So one of them came up to me and was like, "Are you going to sign it?" And I told them, unapologetically and with confidence, "No, of course not." And he's like, "Oh, thank fuck for that. Oh, I'm not going to sign it either." And in that moment, I knew what my fun for the day was going to be, was to go around everyone in the kitchen and convince them that they absolutely don't want to be signing it. And lo and behold, it took some time, but I got everyone to kind of agree that that wasn't going to be the fucking thing. When they started asking about these release forms, what I had done...
Sorry, can I just ask before you get there, did they, say anything? Like, by the way, there's a camera crew here today.
No, they didn't tell us, until 5 minutes before arrival. That's one of the reasons.
Did they even acknowledge that they were there, or were these people just there?
What, you mean my team, you mean?
Anyone. Someone must have said, they're here for something.
Yeah, no, I mean, the exec chef and his lackey had been around, so, this is what's happening today, but, it was 10 minutes before arrival. And it's that's not any fucking good for us. We don't have the room for, you two to kind of be sniffing around, tinkering with shit, let alone people with, in cameras fucking around. No. Obviously, we just say, "Yes, chef," and then kind of get to work, roll our eyes, and mutter to each other, but... Well, just lump it. There's nothing else to do. There's no way around it. But at the very least, what I saw the footage that they were getting, and these are full shots of the kitchen and everyone in it. So I don't know what it's going to be used for. Probably some shit for Instagram, these 10-second videos, whatever. It's going to have to be, because no one in the kitchen signed off on using their likeness whatsoever. So there are a couple of close-ups of people's hands. No one in the kitchen. No.
Well done.
Yeah. So I'm sure they can use stuff of people's hands, like slicing meat and what have you. But yeah, that's going to be about it. You're not going to get any money shots of the kitchen doing its thing with all the fire. It's an open fire kitchen and all this kind of stuff. And they're really proud of it. They've been buying these rotisserie spits and stuff like that. But it's all a facade, because if you put anything on a rotisserie spit, you need the brackets to actually hold whatever it is you put on there in place. So when you rotate it, it doesn't just stay... Well, if you kind of rotate it on without a bracket, it's just not going to move. And that's essentially what we've got. We've got a lot of people that like taking pictures of it and what have you, but as soon as you ask them, I have no problem telling them no, it's all fake. We're never going to use this. This chicken is never going to be cooked. All right, it's going to be burnt on one side.
One side, yeah. So it's like a kebab, but that doesn't rotate.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind telling you that. If it's fully cooked, it might be used for staff food, but if you're here in another half an hour, you're going to watch me put it in the bin. It's just so that you'll fucking hashtag the restaurant on whatever your fucking social media thing is. That's all it's there for, guys. Enjoy your meal. I mean, I've not been called by the managers, but I don't mind, fessing up.
What do they say? What do people say when you say that?
A lot of them kind of appreciate the candor and they kind of laugh at it, and some of them might ask about the job a little bit more, and it's like, "Oh, buddy, I'm not going to shithouse my job too much. How much time have you got? And you're supposed to be enjoying your meal here." I wish I made more effort at this point. I like you now. Don't eat that, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You want to know what you found under the fridge the other week?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like I said, Christina used to be a waitress in what you would call, I don't know, a 4-star restaurant. I mean, obviously not Michelin star, just, I don't, you're talking two people could spend between $100 and $200 there if they're drinking wine. You might get a prime rib there. That'll probably cost you $50, sort of thing. And she's had loads of fun stories of customers who are absolute knobheads, and who are like, the creme brulee. Tell me how do you do it? Because I only eat it if it's done correctly. I'm very, very picky, and all the desserts when she was working there, she would just make herself. They had a very small kitchen. They were completely understaffed all the time. So she would just, she would just go in and do the creme brulee herself. Come out, and she did that to this woman, and this woman said, "Oh, this is the best creme brulee I've ever had. Could you give the chef my compliments?" She was like, "Yeah, of course, yeah, no problem."
Oh dear.
But then that's one end of it. I remember another story she had with serving a table of people who were really pissed off and saying "Oh, she an ugly bitch. She an ugly bitch. She a mean," in front of her.
Yeah.
And because it's corporate and a hotel restaurant, they can't do anything. If that was my restaurant, you'd be fucking out.
Yep.
I do. Yeah. Is that all like it is for you?
Well, I mean, if you do get
do
hostile,
the waiters and waitresses have to take abuse?
Yeah, they do, but up to a certain point, if someone's fucking around, and I've seen people that have been asked to leave, you do get a fair bit of drunken disorderlies, and after a certain point, it's like, yeah, enjoy your meal, it's on us, you have to get out of the building right now. But in all fairness, a lot of the front of house staff are, children, and also invariably off their fucking tits anyway. So they're not doing a great job. So you'll get hostile customers, but within reason,
Somewhat hostile.
Yeah, I mean, someone will be
belligerent.
Someone will see their order be delivered to the people next to them. So these horrible people that don't make any point of saying this isn't our food, they go thanks and eat their food right in front of them, and they'll just be too timid to say anything. They'll try and ask the waitress or what have you what's going on, and she just will have absolutely no fucking clue and won't remedy the situation. It's like, I'm sorry, but they have my food. What are you going to do about it? It's like, I don't know. And that's when people get pissed off. I'll get the manager.
I don't know.
It's like, oh, I can. Sorry, you're eating that. Can we have the food back, please? It's not yours. Well, that's not fucking good enough. It's half eaten.
Yeah.
And so you get that. That is going to breed hostility. You can't ask those people to leave because they've got a fucking point. You're just going to have to comp their meal and just get it to them as quickly as you can, and this time to the right fucking table.
I mean, I've heard endless stories of restaurants full. Someone order, there's a table. They order their food, and then they see the table next to them, which came in after them, get their food first, and then it's like, what the fuck? Are you not serving me first because I'm gay, not gay, black, white, a Republican, religious, not religious, whatever? And they have to explain, no, they ordered a medium rare prime rib. You ordered a fucking well done butterfly steak. It takes longer. You idiots. And then, people who order well done steaks are like, it's dry.
Yeah. That's
what you asked
for. It is. But you just have to stomach the ignorance.
Or people who order filet mignon when it comes saying, I thought it was fish.
Fillet of fish. Like
fillet,
McDonald's,
Fillet mignog. Yeah.
A little mignog swimming around the... Swim around in the sea?
In the water, the big blue wobbly thing.
No, you have to stomach the ignorance. There was one guy that came in who ordered a T-bone steak, obviously wanting a porterhouse, and they're very similar in a lot of regards. I mean, both have a T-shaped bone, but the porterhouse will have a fillet meat on the other side, so you'll have sirloin and fillet. T-bones can have a fillet on it, but considering the cut from the rib of the cow, it's usually just emerging, so it's not a lot of meat. It's mainly just sirloin. And he didn't seem to understand this, but he went on a fucking tirade trying to berating. I think the manager had to handle it in the end. He'd obviously, it got his ire up. It's like a T-bone always has this fucking fillet meat and what have you. And we had to have one of the chefs go over and kind of explain that kind of stuff. He simmered down, what have you. We gave him a fillet steak on the house because he's a thick piece of shit. And he's very grateful for that. But after the meal, he still came up and gave us all the same fucking lecture again. It's like, that's not what a fucking T-bone is. It's like, I'm there. I don't say a word because my role there now...
Why bother? Yeah.
But, well, no, my role is now the butcher in that restaurant. So I cut all this stuff. I had to learn it all. And I know exactly what this... Like, anatomically what it is and why. And I cut it all myself, you know? And it's like, you just... have no idea what you're fucking talking about, dude. But it's like I was advised just to be quiet, lump it, and just let him have his say. He'll leave. If you say anything, he's not gonna leave, and he's gonna demand more be comped. So just act like you know fucking nothing. Let him feel like a big man and go. It's like, I hate this fucking job.
Yeah. I mean, this seems to be, it's definitely not the place. It's the
people,
job,
yeah,
it's the vocation. And then on the flip side, Christina's had many people ask for things like virgin martinis. Like you
want an olive?
Want an olive in a glass? Yeah, and other stuff as well, like a virgin Long Island iced tea. And it got to the point where it was just like, I'm just gonna serve them a fucking lemonade with some cherry syrup in it. I mean, a number of people have gone through every red wine that they had at that restaurant and been like, none of it's sweet enough. It's all too dry. I want sweet wine. And she'll go in the back and put in sugar syrup into it. Into the sweetest wine they have, she'll just put sugar syrup into it, and she'll tell them what it is. Yeah, they love it. And she said, if you want another one like that, next time you go to a restaurant, ask for that. And I mean, not always. You've got to read the table, right? But yeah. I
put Ribena in it.
Put Ribena in it. Yeah.
It's berries in it. It's kind of like grapes. It matches.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you're, I've never worked in a restaurant or a bar. But I've heard a lot about them, and I can definitely understand the skill of reading the room when it comes to serving people. These people came in, I knew exactly what they wanted. I had the picture of Mountain Dew ready to go.
Well, I haven't developed that skill. I'm way too hostile when it comes to working in an open kitchen. People try to catch my eye and talk to me, and I just put my head down. I do anything but,
What do they want to talk to you about?
They'll ask about, it's an open fire kitchen, so blokes who are into their barbecuing will ask about the woods that we're using, the charcoal and that kind of stuff. They'll ask about the meat. It's like,
the arrogant bastards.
If they ask a question, I will invariably answer it, but I will, they'll have to make several kind of passes before I actually acknowledge them, because I will be busy, and I will use that as an excuse to not hear them. And eventually they'll see at one point I'll have to check my little computer screen for the checks or what have you. And that's when they can see I'm not cutting something or grilling something, and they'll save it for that. They'll pounce. And it's like, okay, now I've got to do this. Fine. All right, yeah, so we use silver birch, oak, charcoal for this, briquettes for that. Are you done? Can you do this with your little green egg in your garden at home? No, I didn't think so. All right, glad I could help. Bye. Nowhere near that scathing. I'm actually quite charming.
I'm sure, Damien. I'm sure.
Talking about the Virgin Martini, it put me in mind of someone I knew was a head chef at one of the restaurants in the Wolseley group, and they talked about some of their meetings that they would have with their CEOs. They'd talk about menu development, stuff like this. And in this restaurant, they had a dish called egg in a glass, which was a hard-boiled egg sat in a short glass.
Like a shot glass?
No, like a sort of tumbler. You'd have drink like whiskey on the rocks and something like that. That's all it was. Egg in a glass. 12 quid. And naturally,
and it's going to be like, did they buy the eggs in pre-shelled? Like, did they buy them in boiled?
No. It wasn't anything like that. No, they just
Right.
they'd source the eggs, respectable eggs. They'd cook them, however they needed. But it didn't sell because it was a hard-boiled egg in a glass, and no one wants to go to a restaurant and order a hard-boiled egg in a glass.
Or at all.
Yeah. I asked, is this like a breakfast item? Hard-boiled egg? Do you have that for breakfast? Then no. It's on the menu all day. It's always there. Okay. So tell me about the meetings that we would have. So we need to like drop things from the menu to kind of work up the GP a little bit. We want to change this, that, and the other. Well, there's this one thing that I've always been curious about, and it doesn't sell. I mean, we keep it prep. We will cook like 20 eggs per service, what have you, to make sure it's always available. But no one goes for it. It's this egg in a glass. So it's like, we don't need it on the menu. Surely we get rid of it. And owners were very insistent. Like, no. We can't get rid of that. I still
What we're
remember,
known for.
it's
go
not
on,
far
sorry.
off the rationale that they gave. It's like, you see, the thing about the egg in a glass, the reason it has to stay on the menu is it's what we like to call an attitude dish. It encompasses what we're about here. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? So,
Yeah, I mean, as a ex-patron of restaurants, I've never given a fucking shit about what a restaurant is about.
well, no, even with that rationale, it doesn't actually sum up whatever they were doing. It was kind of like it was like grand European like cafe thing. They were doing a lot of Alsatian food and stuff like that. Egg in a glass has got nothing to do with any of those things. It's not particularly prominent for its breakfast for anything like that. They specialised in a lot of like German sausage and stuff, like the a la carte dinner menus and things like that. But egg in a glass didn't fit in anywhere. But they just liked the idea of it, and they said, no, that has to stay. And
I want a restaurant now where one of the mains on the menu just says egg.
and
12
egg.
pounds. Egg. No, just egg. Yeah, go on.
That's all there is to that fucking story. It's just the way.
Yeah, just
it was those words. It is an attitude dish.
Yeah.
It's normally those kind of like buzzwords come from like a chef talking about like concepts within food, which kind of really make my skin crawl. But yeah, I've never heard that kind of talk out of someone that's, well, not a chef. But it's baffling, fucking baffling.
Yeah, do you remember me telling you about cheeseburger salad?
Yes.
Yeah, at this bar, and they were constantly trying to tell the servers and the chefs were constantly trying to tell the owner, no one orders this and likes it. We, like honestly, like 90% of people who order this send it back. Like, no, people like it. I like it, so people like it.
Well, they've ordered it, which means they have to pay. That's fine. It stays.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a long-term winning strategy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it works. Like, as a novelty, if you saw that on a menu, you'd kind of be intrigued. I mean, where I work, they do the same thing. They just put a cheeseburger on a fucking taco. And every time, I mean, I can hear, open kitchen, I hear what these customers say when they sit down with the menu. And the first thing they always talk about is like, oh, what the fuck is a cheeseburger taco? Let's go for those. Fucking hell, yum. And it's dog shit,
Of
It
course
really
it is. You've got the combination of North American and Central American dog shit right there. Cheeseburger and taco. You might as well be serving a fucking can of grease.
It works though. I mean, because burgers, they cost like fucking nothing to get in,
Nothing,
So for a dish like that, the GP's through the fucking roof. It costs us maybe less than 10p. those little burgers, well, they'll be sold for like £8. So yeah, you make serious money on them. They're always going to be there, and it works. People are like, oh, I haven't seen that before. And it's cheeseburger, so I don't really have to try anything new.
Oh, well, another thing they did at Revolving Disc was, and that started to appear in reviews as well. Was the price of lobster shot up? So they decided that rather than put the price of lobster up, because it was like you can have a lobster tail with your steak, they would just not have it. They would just drop it, but they wouldn't drop it from the menu because people expect it to be on the menu. So eventually you got to the point where you had people going there 3 or 4 times and the lobster was never there. It's like people can work it out.
You could always say they're on short supply, and you've just, someone just snapped.
Yeah, but you can't. You can say that. But if someone goes like 4 times over the course of like 15 months, and you're always saying we're on short supply,
yeah,
like they're gonna start putting that together and work. They just never have it. No.
No, you're absolutely right. But these people are shameless. They're just whatever that keeps people coming back is kind of fraudulent. But if there's a promise that they do, if there's a promise that if it's available, they will, they will say that, we'll get it in, and then it's like a legit menu item. It's not good practice, but it's technically kind of okay. I mean, we have to write our menus pretty much per service because we do a lot of the butchery in-house, so we'll obviously decide what steaks are available. And I usually coordinate with these people, but because it has to go through a chain of at least 2 people, there's always a breakdown. So they'll print off something completely fucking different that's not available. It's like, well, what did you do that for? Well, we can't reprint the menus now. It's like, yes, you fucking can. It's only like fucking 5:45. Get it done. Get quickly whip round the table before everyone comes in. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll just tell them that we've run out of fillet steaks. It's like, fuck's sakes, man.
Yeah, and we'll just do that as part of the course. We're out. Yeah.
And these are silly mistakes. It's not quite as cynical as what you're talking about. It's just kind of idiocy and breakdowns in communication. But they don't correct it, and they happen consistently. And I don't know why. I painstakingly have to like grade the meat and say this is available, this isn't. I've got this, and these are all the weights and measurements of all this stuff. And I have to give them this long list, and I know that these people can barely fucking read, so I make a big point of lovingly writing it out nice and clear, and they can't read anything off of it. Anything over a certain weight, they'll sell as a special cut. They have to verbalise at the table, and and if it's gone, they cross it off the list and what have you. Nice and simple. You sell it, you cross it off. No one else can do it. They can't manage that for some reason, so after a certain point I oversell things. They keep selling things I no longer have, or some waitresses don't check, not waitresses, it's all of the front of house. They'll just invent stuff that was never on the list. Steaks of a certain breed and weight that was never listed, never in house at any point during like the last week, that is just no matter how easy you make it for these people, you have to compete with that kind of incompetence. And it's very tiresome, especially since I'll have to do like damage control, or if the right people are in, they'll be like, let's just sell this and say it's this. It's like, oh no. Wow. Fuck off.
And what do they do? Like, you're talking with meat mainly.
Yeah, so I mean,
like, let's just sell some fish and chips and tell them it's a burger.
Well, I mean, they'll sell something like a porterhouse at 600 grams, and there won't be anything. So they'll be like, try and find like one of the 500s that looks a bit 600-y.
That's definitely fucking. That's got to be illegal. I mean.
Well, yeah, of course it is. It's fraud.
Yeah.
Or if
where are the standards and measures men? Popping up with their little weights. Yeah. It's
frequently. Why don't you just sell the 500? Tell them you're sorry, and then don't charge them the extra 100 grams. All right.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Or one of the more egregious ones is they'll have different breeds. So they have like specialty breeds like Dexter, which will age an additional amount of time. Everything that comes in is like 28-day aged. That's pretty standard, but for stuff like that, they'll go 60 days or more, and because we have to hold on to that for a lot longer, and some of the characteristics of the breed charge more for it anyway. They will like run out of those pretty quickly, and someone else will be asking about it, and someone else will sell it without getting the message. And they're like, what do we do? So like, well, let's just pretend this is one of them. No, just tell them no. Just and my insistence means nothing, because they will just either ignore me or they'll go over my head, and I'll find myself or someone else cooking something completely different, and then presenting it as something else.
But then as it's served, you should be shouting out like, "It's not a porterhouse!
It's a rump!
It's
There's
a
no
rump!"
bones!
Or whatever, yeah. Oh dear, well, fuck. Well, speaking of Shameless, and to get off the subject of restaurants for this episode, I would, if it's alright with you, like to possibly read some fun emails I have been getting recently.
Okay.
I got these two emails simultaneously. Not exactly simultaneously, but like I'm talking about both emails were sent three. Okay, so let me try and explain this properly. I got an email from someone asking me about being sponsored by Atlas VPN, and then a day later I got an email from someone else asking me that, and both of these people emailed me a total of 3 times.
Okay, I'm following so far.
And the similarities between the emails are uncanny, but they're not completely the same, which sort of is even more worrying. Like, did a robot write this? Because if they didn't, that's sad. So, like, "Hi, I am Camille, Influence Marketing Manager at Atlas VPN. I am reaching out in hopes of working together. I just came across your channel and thought that it would be a great match." Never says my name or anything. "More about us. Blah, blah, blah. Our goal is to make internet access secure and limitless for everyone, and I believe your channel would be a great fit to bring awareness about that in an entertaining way." Okay. And then, like a day after that, I got one from Jason, which says more or less the same thing. I won't go through it again. Oh, it actually says exactly the same thing. "I am reaching out in hopes of working together."
Hi, this is Camille.
But then it does say something different at the end. Wouldn't you be interested in collaboration? Oh, what? Like a fucking... You mean like a Nazi collaborator? Great word. "Could you let me know the pricing rate for 60 seconds integration on one of your videos?" Yeah, a couple of million, dickhead. And then, obviously I didn't reply to either of these. And then Camille messaged me again. "Just circling back in case my previous email was lost in your mailbox. I am sure you have enough tasks to keep you busy throughout the day. However, I am reaching out because I firmly believe we could establish a partnership that is worth your time. Let me know if you would like to discuss some ideas." The day after that, Jason writes to me. Let me just find him. "I am just checking about my previously sent emails. Have you given them some thought? I know how easy it is to get lost in the daily email shuffle." And then like 2 days after that, Camille messages me again and says, "Hello, Camille here. I'm just checking about my previously sent emails. Have you given them some thought? I know how easy it is to get lost in the daily email shuffle. It happens to me more than I'd like to admit. Feel free to reach back to me so we can run over some ideas." I mean, it just seems so desperate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like really, really desperate. So there was that. I got an email from Raid Shadow Legends, and someone suggested on Patreon that that email becomes a T-shirt, and that's what I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on it. That is a brilliant idea, and I'm going to change it just enough. And by change it, I mean I might try and see if I can change the phone number to like the Kremlin hotline or something. But okay, yeah. So I'm not going to read it all. It's just hi name, hello, hello. Hope this email finds you well. My name is new space, new line. Okay, and then it goes on about Raid Shadow Legends, which is like advertised everywhere. Like the fuck advertised out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, then all the usual shit. We're interested in a 60 to 90 second integration at the first half of the video, plus links at the top of the description, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then at the end, it says, in small print, All information and attachments included in this email are confidential and intended for the original recipient only. You must not share any part of this message with any third party, copy, distribute, use, review, reproduce, or take any action in reliance upon this message without the written permission of the sender. If you have received this message by mistake, please let us know immediately. Blah, blah, blah. Like, sorry, this is an unsolicited email. I can fucking do what I want with it.
Red rag to a bull now.
The best one, though, is, if I may, just one more, and this is very short and easily the best one. Hello, sir. I am the advertising manager of a digital currency mining company. Since the company wants to expand globally, we need to use your video to help us promote it. Of course, we will also give you a rich. For the amount, please contact me WhatsApp.
A rich.
A rich. I want a rich. I would like 4 rich. For 30 time.
Well, yeah. I mean, after all that kind of correspondence, you should be Mr. Moneybags by now. Fucking hell.
George, you could make £500 by selling your soul. Because that's what we're talking about. It's never like a lot of money anyway, really. But I suppose if I did it on every video...
Opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, it could lead to a mass fucking exodus of viewers from my channel. I hope it would. I
thought that's what this podcast was all about.
Yes. All right, well, I guess we're done.
Okay, cool. So I hit the button, or do I say goodbye first? Is it worth saying goodbye? I said that very close to the mic.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say Cronenberg romance. If you ask me, you can trace that back, really, to Kafka with Metamorphosis. One day, dude turns into a giant cockroach. Do people still love him? Answer is no. That's basically it, right? Like you wouldn't have loved Jeff Goldblum as if he was the Fly. That'd be really hard to have a relationship. Like just gross, just disgusting.
No, but pre-Fly Beefcake.
Pre-Fly, he was hot as fuck. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
They really, they put that up front and center. It's like, well, I know I'm going to be gross the rest of the movie, so I better make sure I'm shit hot now.
Yeah. Life is a fly. Well, thanks for listening to this, everyone.
Yes, indeed.
I guess.
And
unless it was not by your own choice in that case.
Oh, a dreadful apology.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Goodbye.